Hey, I'm Dante,
And hey, I'm Dana.
and welcome to the Donta Show.
Let me touch it, can make it bad, I'ma make it bad for it, bad for it. When I tease you, you ain't gonna wanna stop, I'ma make you bad for it, bad for it. I know you want my body and I'll make you bad for it.
What's up, village? What's up, village? What up, village? It is Monday night. March 29th, third month of the year. We are almost out of 2021. Believe it or not, we're almost out of it. What up, family? I am Dante Morrison, host of the Donta Show, and I am glad to see you on tonight. I'm glad to be back in your presence one more again. As you can see, I'm solo bolo because my boy Dana is on vacation with his kids for spring break. So they are out there making a do. What up, my llama? What up? What up? What up, Joe? Where you been, fam? Where you been? Where you been? Shanty lady over there on YouTube. How you doing, queen? I'm glad to have you on tonight. Joe, your tattoo, your back tat, man, it is coming together. It is fire. I got to see it live and up close because every time I see you post a new one, I get more and more inspired. I can't do the full back one yet, but what you have done, man, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, everybody, go ahead and invite your friends, your family, your cousins, your loved ones into tonight's episode of the Donta Show. We got special guest Pastor Cedric Nelms, but he's not just any old everyday pastor. This brother is down to earth, and we're gonna have real conversations. It's gonna be lively, it's gonna be insightful, it's gonna be real. It's gonna be so real, you're gonna be rubbing your chin like, is he really a pastor? Yeah, he really a pastor. He really a pastor. So I'm gonna let y'all get up in here, but you know what? Every February is Black History Month, and we take time to pay homage to our Black icons, our Black leaders who have paved the way for so much that we have done as a Black people. But February is also the shortest month of the year. And anybody that knows about Dante and Dana, we're all about Black. Being Black all day, 24/7, Black, bliggity Black on top of Black. We are Black every day. We Black right now. We Black yesterday. We're going to be Black tomorrow. So with that being said, the Donta Show always does a Black history icon every single episode, all right? And tonight is no different. Kwame, let's do it. Boom, Black History Year. Today, we're going to recognize Albert Murray. Albert Murray is our icon of the day. Albert Murray was never a household name, but he was one of the most important Black thinkers of the 20th century. The essayist and social critic changed the way people talked about race by challenging Black separatism and insisting that the Black experience was central to American culture. He once remarked that American society is incontestably mulatto because Black and white people are inextricably bound to one another. The United States is not a nation of Black and white people, Mr. Roy wrote. Any fool can see that white people are not really white and that Black people are not Black. Murray was what one friend called a militant integrationalist. He didn't use the terms Black or African American. He called himself American. Born in Alabama, Murray attended Tuskegee Institute, where he befriended Ralph Ellison, author of the classic novel Invisible Man. Murray also eventually became close friends with Romare Bearden, the influential painter, and a mentor to jazz musician Wynton Marsalis. Murray was a novelist, but it is through his pugnacious essays that he is best known. They are informed by his love of music. He wrote passionately about blues and jazz, his knowledge of Black culture, and his astonishing command of literature. One of his best books, 1970's The Omni-Americans, was a collection of essays and a punishing critique of Black separatism. Filled with Murray's trademark blunt wit, it insisted that America was a nation of multicolored people who share a common destiny. Writer Percy called it the most important book on Black-white relationships, indeed, on American culture, published in this generation. All right, Donta Show Village, give it up to our Black icon of the day. none other than Albert Murray. But pow. I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, we got to celebrate our own. We got to keep our legacies alive. The art of storytelling is so powerful. We cannot forget about just sharing the stories of those who have paved ways for us. Oftentimes, our kids go to school. They learn about Malcolm. They learn about Martin. They learn about Sojourner. They learn about Harriet. You know, they might learn about George Washington Carver, but we have a whole lot of unsung heroes within the Black community that never get their names mentioned. And it is important that we continue to pass on the legacies of these individuals because they may inspire the next generation of leaders, not just doctors and lawyers, but there's a lot of entrepreneurs within American history, you know, that were Black. Period. We got to do that. We got to make sure that we share our legacies and let our generations know what we did and the seeds we planted in this country. All right. All right. So listen, so Dana's not here, but I'm going to do a drop. All right. I ain't got no fanfare. I ain't got no boom. I ain't got no noise. I ain't got nobody screaming and all that kind of stuff. But this is the Dana drop, kind of sort of. All right. So all of you probably know that the internet has been ablaze, you know, talking about Lil Nas X and his latest video. All right. So his latest video is just this artistic, you know, impression of his experiences. And Lil Nas X already was talked about because his song Old Town Road went like diamond, and he's set for life. He really ain't got to make no more music. But his latest video, actually the song it's a bop, but the video is very controversial because it depicts, you know, just heaven and hell. And he did I know ain't no screaming. I'm sorry, you know, but I'm more like Dante, See, that's my screams. So this video, you know, everybody knows Lil Nas X is an openly gay rapper, openly gay artist, whatever. Well, the video, he has on like his boots and he got the long braids and whatnot. But then he goes, you know, he descends from the heavens down to hell, gives the devil a lap dance, and at the end he snaps the devil's necks and kills the devil and takes the crown and all this kind of stuff. Then he goes on and he posts something about his shoes. You know, Nike's going to do these shoes, but Nike has come forth and said, we ain't part of this foolishness. We ain't doing no shoes with no blood in the shoes. All right, we ain't doing all that. So here's my thing. My topic is not about Lil Nas X. My topic is not about the video because I really can give two cares about either. You know me, the era I'm in life right now, I don't care about none of that. It's all it's noise to me. You know, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But what I don't understand is people already knowing they're not going to like the video for whatever reason, but then they run to watch the video. And then they come back on social media and say, I can't believe he made a video like that. Okay, but he didn't make it for you. He made it for his fans. And if you are a fan of Lil Nas X, you know, you'll like the video. If you're not a fan of Lil Nas X, you won't run to see the video. It's all that chasing that people do, and I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And like Joe said, I'll never knock an artist's expression. However, I can't rock with the video or the song. Gay straight is trash. That's an opinion. And Joe's opinion is irrelevant to Lil Nas X's sexual orientation. It's irrelevant. He said the song is trash. The video is trash. He don't like it. Okay, fine. So be it. So be it. Right, Joe, we're all going to watch It's the Human Way. It's like when a fight starts, everybody was in high school when fights broke out, you ran to the fight, you know, until that gun or that knife came out, then you ran away from the fight. And anybody from Chicago, I know you watching, y'all grew up seeing fights every day, all day. You probably started the fights. Different story, different drop. But my thing is, when it comes to artistic expression, we got to think about Michael Jackson got dragged when he did Thriller because, you know, it had all the demons and all that kind of stuff. Madonna got dragged for almost everything she did because she had a lot of religious imagery. You know, everything is not for you. Everything is not for you. Everything is not about you. Everything is not for you. And that's okay. But jumping on the bandwagon to annihilate an artist that you don't like anyway, what is the point? What is the point? What do we get out of bashing and dragging folks we don't listen to his music anyway? I don't get it. Some people love the video, and that's fine. But running to see something you already know you're not gonna like, then to instantly assume Lil Nas X never said, "Hey, I'm a Christian and I represent Christians and I represent this," because the whole video was not about Christianity. The video had so many different. It was a weird video, but it had a lot of different interpretations in the video that if you know religious culture, you would have seen a lot of stuff in there. It was over the top. It was a lot. It was saying a lot, but I was just baffled by the amount of folks that spoke about their disdain and loathing of the video, like Lil Nas X really cares. Now, one other thing I want to talk about outside of Lil Nas X, this is also another thing, and I wasn't going to talk about it, but I was backstage talking to Pastor Cedric, and I brought this up. So get it, right? I wasn't going to do this. I don't want to be all hurting folks' feelings. Everybody is hypersensitive for some reason in this dispensation in time. But, okay, stop Asian hate. All right. I get it. Stop Asian hate. I get it completely. But here's my thing. People that are saying stop Asian hate, are you asking yourself, are we talking about Asians across the whole, era? Are we talking about Chinese, Japanese, and whatever? Because there's a lot of countries in Asia that I have not seen raising signs, and I've not seen them, at the microphone. India is in Asia. India is in Asia. It's a lot of other countries in Asia. So I think that before we jump on these bandwagons, and of course, I'm not for any kind of hate crime. Please understand that. But I think that before we jump on these bandwagons, we need to see what we're really jumping on. Stop Asian hate. All right. Are we talking about hate against, Chinese Americans, hate against Japanese Americans? What are we talking about? But let's do geography, people. Let's do geography, because you do know when you go to an Indian restaurant, you're eating Asian food. That is Asian food. You do know that, right? And if you didn't know that, I'm not knocking you, but say you learned it here. Say you learned, yes. When you go and get your naan, when you go and get your chapati bread, when you go and get all those Indian spices and all that Indian food and all the stuff that you love, like, oh my God, this is phenomenal. That's Asian food. Don't just think that Asian is Chinese food. That's not. Asia is huge. All right. So I'm all for stop Asian hate, but let's look at the bigger picture. And when you look at the news media and all that, when you see people at the platform that are speaking on behalf of that, and you see the crowd behind them, what kind of Asians do you see? Next time you watch, I want you to look. Then I want you to ask, hey, why am I only seeing Chinese people? This is stop Asian hate, right? Where's the, because Saudi Arabia, is that in Asia? Ask yourself. So I'm just saying, all right. So Black people, I get it. We want to be everybody's savior and be on the bandwagon. And I also get that we don't like hate crimes, period. We don't like that. But we need to make sure that before we get out there holding flags and marching in rallies and whatnot, that when they say and stop a hate against a certain population, a certain continent, that we're looking around and seeing the whole continent reflected. Because they can stop going to the nail shops and shooting the Chinese people, but what about the Indian establishment right next door? That's all. Okay. All right. So that is the Donta drop. That's the drop. Ladies. All right, so that is it. All right, y'all, so let's get into tonight's conversation. Of course, I know y'all probably saw Pastor Cedric Nelms like, I ain't trying to hear no pastor, but trust me, you don't disappear, don't leave, don't walk away, because Cedric is about it. Cedric is with it. So let's bring on back to the Donta Show, my brother, my friend, Pastor Cedric Nelms. There you go.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you? How are you?
I'm hanging, man. I'm hanging.
Man, you got that wisdom just dropping. It's like Moses, just oil, just dripping down, bruh.
Man, the pandemic's made it worse, man.
I'm saying, I feel
just let it
redeemed
go.
just by looking at you, bruh. I feel redeemed. All right. So
Yeah.
you ready to get into this conversation, man?
Let's do it, man. You know, I love being with you, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, so if this is your first time watching, make sure to check out the Donta Show on YouTube. Make sure to go to youtube.com/Donta Morris and hit that like button right in the top right corner, and you'll be notified every single time we go live. Listen, if you say you're part of the village, let's let the village get bigger. Let's let the village grow. I see my boy Dana watching. Dane, he is watching. Boom. He couldn't be here with us tonight. Like I said, he's out there enjoying his spring break and making it happen safely in a pandemic. I'm gonna tell you where he's at because y'all might go looking for him. But he just said Cedric Jakes is in the building. All right, so let's go. We all know that the pandemic has taken a toll on a lot of people. It has ran some folks low, ran some folks away. It's just done a lot. So we're gonna try to just have lively conversation about the challenges of being a relaxed Christian. Because there are so many Christians out there that just sit just like this, and it's like you can exhale at some point. God is gonna be with you if you breathe.
If you breathe.
If you breathe. And especially in light of all of the vitriol that our brother Kirk Franklin got, when he passionately rebuked his child, and people be looking like, yo, what are y'all doing? My thing is this: y'all need to stop acting like folks ain't human. And we're not gonna do a whole Kirk Franklin conversation, but as Christians, we got to breathe. We gotta relax. So let's hit up this first question. Come and post that first question. Has the pandemic relaxed Christians? And I asked that question because being a Christian, you're stuck in a routine. Mm-hmm. Wednesday, I get off work, go eat, go to Bible study, go home. Friday, get off work, go to choir rehearsal, go home. Sunday morning, get up, iron, get dressed, go to church, leave church, go to brunch, take a nap, go to night service, start again next week. So has the pandemic relaxed Christians?
Yeah, the pandemic has relaxed Christians. Some would probably even say it's caused some Christians to be a little lazy. Because it's easy now. Instead of doing all of what you just talked about, the mechanics of doing church, now it's one of those things to where people can just roll over and pick up their cell phone. They can roll over and pick up their iPad. They can put it on their smart TV and they can cook and do all this other kind of stuff that they can do and just have the service on instead of being fully engaged in the service. So yes, pandemic has caused some to relax and also has caused some to let go.
So let go of the church or let go of God?
Let go of the church. I think folks are still engaging with God and they still believe in their walk, but some people have backed off of church and understand that building is not what was holding me in place. The building is not what I need to get spiritually fed. Now folks kind of have this, they have a buffet style. They got a smorgasbord of tapping into different speakers on Sunday. So
Right. And the thing about it, because I've caught myself doing this. I church top on Sundays. Like I'll tip in the one that I know got a good praise team that they do visually. Then I'll back up and I go to another one. I know they got a good word, Then I'll and you sitting right here just like, okay, I'm tired of you.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like that message. Let me go on over here. I'm saving gas. So I think that's interesting. Go ahead, sir. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it has. And at the same time, it has also increased some people's engagement too. So some people listen and actually are, how can I say this? They are more engaged with their church during this pandemic, because then that's what they've needed to get through. So they're feasting more after the tenements of church. It's not so much like you're talking about the decoration of church. Now they want their midweek Bible study. Now they want the little sermonettes that we're able to do and splice together of our services. They want the Sunday worship experience. A lot of churches have turned to Zoom, because now it's like, at least I can see the folks who I went to church with face to face, and has made it more intimate, like we were in church. So I think it's not a either or, it's really a both and. Some have relaxed. And as I shared with some folks the other day, those who were kind of in and out, those are the ones who have pulled back. Those who were totally engaged, they've been engaged throughout the whole pandemic, but they were going to be engaged regardless. So.
Right. Let me ask the village, if you're watching right now, how has the pandemic affected your walk? I mean, are you glad you don't have to get up and go to church every single Sunday out of obligation? Or do you miss being in the environment? Do you miss being inside the church house, having the whole service and all that? And I know for a lot of pastors, and you ain't got to admit it, Pastor Nelms, a lot of pastors, they ain't missing it. They not miss. They like, I'm good if I can sit here and feed y'all from afar, because being a pastor is work. And I think a lot of people don't realize that it's more than just Sunday. Yes. Being a pastor is it's a lifestyle. And I'm just curious, to know, did it relax you?
No, actually the pandemic has increased my work, because now, before it was like, okay, we had to just get to a building. I had to prepare a sermon, make sure everything was set up on Sunday. Now it's wherein I actually start writing sermons in blocks of 2s, because now I have to record. I do a pre-recording. I submit that to our media team, who pulls the worship team songs that they've done, puts all that together. And in the midst of, I still have meetings, I still have things that I'm doing. I'm bivocational. So that means I'm working a full-time job and pastoring the church. So it's actually increased my work. It's actually increased my time to the point to where, sometimes some weeks I'm stressed out. So by the time we get to Sunday, the enjoyable part is I get to see the finished product and be engaging as the people are weighing in. But no, it has not relaxed me. If anything, it's overwhelmed me. The pandemic has been overwhelming for me.
I can relate, and I really can relate to what Derek Mitchell just shared. Derek said, I work the media ministry, so I still go to every Sunday to help stream the service. It feels weird going to an empty church. I miss the fellowship, but I still get the word. And I can relate to that 100%, because myself and Kwame, of Pyro Media, who does my show, we do the media ministry for our church. Right. So while everybody is kind of sitting back, watching church at their leisure, in their bed, on their phone, while they're cooking breakfast, me and Kwame are still in front of the camera and still making sure that everything flows so people won't miss a beat. Because we have realized that some people really can't thrive, outside of the building. That your attention is just not there. And a few folks have said they miss church. Dwayne Boyd, I miss church. I miss church. Robert Miller said, I haven't stopped. We only shut down for like 2 Sundays. Robert, what church you go to that y'all in the building, or y'all out? Don't get your pastor in trouble. Don't get your pastor fined. What church meetings do you go to in the state of California? Where you go, Robert? But that's good stuff. And I do think that people miss the fellowship, because fellowship is it helps you. Like Joe McClain just said, I haven't been a long time when I saw church was a corporation instead of a place of healing. That's good right there, man. That's good. And I think that is a touche moment. And I think Pastor Nelms can relate. There's a lot of churches out there that have become conglomerates. It's a business institution, and people are not really getting their souls fed or their lives changed. They're just going out of habit.
Right.
Right. Very good point, Joe. Very good point. Kwame, what's our next question? Why do pastors allow themselves to be placed on pedestals? And notice I said allow themselves, because man can put you there, but it's up to you to be like, yo, I need y'all to, I am not God. I am not this. Why do pastors, not you, why do pastors allow themselves to be placed on pedestals?
Because everybody likes power and prestige, and because there's something attractive about being the center of attention. I shared with a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, when you look at pastors, for some, it's a small thread. For others, it's a larger thread of being narcissistic. You got to be a little narcissistic to be able to stand before people and preach and to speak the word. Of course, it's your calling too, but you do like being at some level the center of attention. Now, as far as why pastors allow themselves to be placed on pedestals, I think some of that is not a condition. Some of that is a character. So the difference between that is a condition you can heal, you can get over. When it's part of your character, that's just who you are. And so some pastors are attracted to that because that's part of their DNA. That's part of who they are. So they would be that way if they were the supervisor on the job. They would be that way if they were the coach of their son's football team. They would want that pedestal because there's something intoxicating about that position. There's something with being called pastor. That means you know the answers. That means that you are in a proverbial state of being right underneath Jesus. So if Jesus don't answer, God's going to call you. It's something about that that makes that very intoxicating and attractive.
I just got a vision of God dialing Jesus' cell phone. Jesus, pick up. Cedric, you there? Go save my people.
Right. It's something about that sometimes, as I share with my folks, this is not the Cedric show. This is God's thing that I have the ability or the honor in serving as the under shepherd. And when you deal with that from that perspective and understand that shepherds were out in the dirt, shepherds were out trying to get sheep, that wasn't a glamorous position. That was a very thankless position. And so when pastors put themselves on that pedestal, they do themselves a disservice, because once you get on that pedestal, you got to realize that the legs on the pedestal only hold so much weight. And pretty soon those legs might break if you put too much, if your crown is too big that you placed on your head.
Right. Or somebody come by and kick the legs off of it, and then you fall and bust your chin.
Exactly.
Yes. Take that lap. That was rich, man. That was really rich, because I was sitting here thinking, and you think about, power and position, all that, and it's probably safe to say that some pastors only want to be pastors for the power and the position, not really for the people. Right. And it's like they're striving because they want to reach this level of look at me, I am here, I am the one, but don't realize there's so much that comes with being a pastor that never really is discussed. And I think that's unfair to the good pastors, who are out there really tilling the land. They're doing the work, but they're getting overshadowed by these pedestal individuals who only want to sit in the throne, and have you kiss the ring.
Right.
So I think that was a solid answer about character. And I think character is really important for us all to realize, what really is your character? Are you going to be that same person when the camera's on, and off,
Right. And people don't understand that a lot of times being a pastor, when it's a calling, you run from that more than you run to it.
Bruh.
So I didn't want to be a pastor, and I'm very honest about that. That was not on my top 3, top 5. No, it was not. I got called into the ministry, and so there's a heavy burden that I carry with that. And it's not pedestal, it's the burden of understanding that God is asking me to do something that is beyond my skill set and my abilities, and it's exclusively a God thing.
I love it. I love it. Hey, y'all, don't go nowhere. It's time for a quick commercial break. We'll be back with part 2 with the phenomenal pastor, Cedric Nelms. You got time to get your family, friends, your loved ones, your cousins up into the building. You're watching the Donta Show. Kwame, take it away. Great conversation, man. Great conversation. You are back watching the Donta Show. Listen, this is your first time watching. Make sure to subscribe to the Donta Show on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Donta Morrison. Click that subscribe button and you will be added to the village. You'll be notified every single time we go live. You'll also have a chance to watch all the other past shows that we have done. And we have done some phenomenal shows, phenomenal interviews, phenomenal conversations. Me and Dana Dane, we go hard in the paint for the Black community. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And speaking of going hard in the paint, Pastor Cedric is here, from the LBC. Let the folks know where your church is at, Pastor.
Our church is located in Long Beach. Right now, our building is 5601 Orange Avenue. After we come out of this pandemic, that might be changing. So be sure you tap into our social media page, our website, which is www.choseng129.org.
You talk like a G. You know that? I don't know if everybody heard that. I don't know your full testimony. I don't know it. But when you was talking just now, all I saw was you sitting. I saw your chin go up. Orange Avenue. We in Long Beach. Let's go change though. Is he gonna put some brownies on and say, talk about this? You better come on and get saved at the church house.
Oh man, what of my youth say? Pastor preaches like he's Ice Cube. I'm like,
yeah, wow. I'm like, I got a little nervous. Like, I better praise God. Throw your hands up. Throw them up. Yes, Lord. But I love that. I love it, man. You're so down to earth. You're so down to earth, and you're so approachable. And I know that a lot of pastors, they somewhat distance themselves from their people, and they have their faithful few. They say it's because Jesus had the disciples. Okay, I get that. Yet and still, you're not Jesus. But when it comes to people going to church, a lot of folks, they don't like the bigger churches because they want to have that relationship with their pastor, and I think there is a lot of work, the smaller churches do that gets yet again overshadowed by these larger, institutions, of church. Mm-hmm. How do you stay relevant amidst all that other stuff that's going on, in the community?
I think you said it. It's just being relatable. I'm no bigger than who God allows me to be. And so my thing is always, I want to be able to keep myself engaging and relatable and connected to the people, because the people is where the true ministry gets lived out. It does not get lived out in your title. It doesn't get lived out in how many seats you got in your sanctuary. It gets lived out in spaces of receiving text messages from members who say, "Hey, Pastor, could you just pray for me?" Or I'm having a rough week. You think we can get together for lunch, grab coffee, something like that, because then they'll remember the times that I assisted them in getting a job after getting laid off. They'll remember the times that I helped them when their youth was just having a bad day and they weren't connecting as parent and child. They'll remember that stuff far more than they'll remember any sermon that I preached or anything like that. And plus, people want to see that you care about the community outside of the four walls of the church.
Right. That building that connectedness. Yes,
Right.
indeed.
Right.
Indeed. So the first half of the show, we talked about keeping it real, and I know you have no problem with keeping it real. You keep it 100, all the way through and through. So Kwame, let's roll them next questions. Let's go, Kwame. Are Christians too hard on themselves?
Ooh. 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 Well, in what regard?
When it comes to making mistakes, and messing up, I know Christians that it's like they every other week they renting their clothes and sprinkling their head with ashes and laying out on their front lawn, and it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, look at that. You must got a whole production team. You got Brighter and the lights.
And the lights.
The light came. No, but I mean, when it comes to Christians, they seem to be so just hard on themselves. Like they're not allowed to make any mistakes. There's no wiggle room for error. And it's like, just relax and breathe.
Yeah, I think going back to the Kirk Franklin topic that we were talking about backstage,
Mm-hmm.
It's one to where, and you got to realize you're human. We've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. That goes from the pastor and the parking lot attendant, from the pulpit to the parking lot. And no, you you have to understand that when we get caught up in religion is about process. Religion is about systems. Religion is about making sure that you check in boxes. Jesus did not come for religion. He came for a relationship. That's why Jesus could still allow for Judas to hang around him, even though he knew Judas was going to sell him out. So we have to realize we can't beat ourselves up when we fall short. That's expected. That's why grace is so important. That's why we have to understand we can't boast about this thing because we're not the ones who made us and saved us in the first place. That's why grace is so important. So important.
When you brought up that Judas comparison, I just saw half of the Christians on the thread. They gave a curse word and they said, "No, that ain't me. I ain't Jesus." I ain't built like that. If I know who my hater is, if I know who finna betray me, they out the squad immediately.
Hey, let me tell you something. Judas, as far as me, you getting cut off of Facebook, Instagram. I'm taking you out my phone. I'm like Jasmine Sullivan. Who this? New phone. You know what I'm saying? You're not in my contacts. I don't know who this is. That's the human side of me.
Right. That's the human side.
And we're striving to be Christ-like, but we're not Christ-like. That's why we still need Jesus. That's why he's important, because we're not gonna get there.
And I think that's what I was talking about, because we have some Christians, just for the sake of the story you just gave, they will keep their Judas close, and living in pure torment, frustration, anxiety, shaking, and all this. Well, the Lord Jesus kept Judas near, but you're not Jesus, and you know your limitations. Right. If you're sitting there the whole time, your Judas is in your midst, thinking of how can I kill this person? How do I bust a ball across their head because I know they finna betray me? Then you need to remove that Judas, because I get the thorn in your side, but this is too big for you. You got to give that to God.
Right. And you do. You have to realize, as I often say, you got to find your lane. And my lane is I'm striving to understand how to be more like Christ, but I'm not there yet. And that means that if you are causing me to come out of my kingdom culture and assignment, then I love you, but I have to love you from a distance. And that goes for family and friends. Sometimes I got to love you from a distance. I'm praying for you. I'm there for you if you need me. But you can't be in my 360 because you do something to disrupt and disturb my inner core. So,
and I think what probably is helping people the most is that you as a pastor can admit that. You know, there are pastors out there that would instruct people to remain in torment because that is God's way of keeping them close and keeping them humble and keeping them grounded. And you keep saying, but pastor, if I don't separate, I'm gonna kill him. Well, then you ain't passed the test yet. You gotta stay in that test until you pass. So just don't kill him. Well, pastor, that's not sound advice, you know. So it's, you know, I think you as a pastor saying that we need to hear more pastors talk about their human side and the character of who they are. You know, it's important and it's necessary. It's necessary.
Well, and you got to realize, I preached a message a couple Sundays ago. You got to realize, you got to figure out where people are in your life. Some people are roadblocks, some are speed bumps, and some are rest stops. And when you have a roadblock, that means they are stopping your progress, but they're not stopping your process. Y'all are funny. I love this show right here, man. Y'all are funny.
I'm sitting here looking at my list like roadblock. Yeah. That's a roadblock. That's a rest stop. That's a speed bump. I can get over that hump. That's rich, man. That's rich.
And when you're a roadblock, that means you got a detour. But you got to realize where your detour is so that you just maneuver yourself around those folks so that they don't get you like that. You know, because there's some things you have to. And when you say, are the Christians hard? I'm more hard on myself when someone else gets me to the point of where I've allowed someone to get me to that point where I know I've matured past that. So now you trying to bring me back into my old culture, my default self. Let me get back to my true self, which is, let me get back to where Christ wants me to be. That's my true self, not my default self.
The default self. That was deep. That was deep. Come on, Lavelle. Yes, Lavelle. Roadblock, speed bump, rest stop. Wow. There you go, Vale. There you go. Eat that word, man. That was powerful, dude. That was powerful. All right, come on. Let's get to his next question. We got two more. Come on, here we go. What we got next? What would you say to a Christian that is stuck in tradition? Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I could have woke up with my cooling board. But Father, you are a wonder. You're a miracle worker, Father.
Is the tradition you stuck in kingdom principles or man-made? There's a lot of things we do in church that, and I don't mean any harm. Some of the, and because I come, as people have done, I come out of the church. I come out of the Black church, so I get it. But auxiliaries, where do you find that in the scriptures? Annual days, where do you find that in the scripture? As I preached, once again, I shared when I was on one of my Holy Ghost rants in my sermon, Jesus didn't have deacons. Jesus didn't have a praise team. Jesus didn't have adjutants. He didn't have greeters. So a lot of stuff in church, if Jesus came and visited any of our churches, he wouldn't know what to do. He doesn't know anything about that. So tradition, you have to realize some of the traditions that we are so beholden to are man-made traditions, and that doesn't get you any further to your eternal resting stop. So why get yourself hung up on something man has made? And Jesus didn't do that.
That's good stuff. And I like what Chester Brooks just chimed in and said, be willing to challenge what you know is truth. It fosters growth. You know, and I think that's really profound. Chester, that's profound. What you just said, Pastor Mills, is profound, because oftentimes tradition is comfortable and tradition is safe.
Right.
You know, if I know what to expect based upon tradition and I'm going based upon tradition, nothing is going to surprise me. Nothing is going to shock me. Nothing is going to force me to step out of my comfort zone and question, you know, if God is in it or not. It won't do that. You know, I can just sit right here and know every Sunday, Deacon such and such going to take one knee and he going to pray the same prayer that we can repeat. And I recall growing up, and I think a few of my childhood church friends are watching, probably on YouTube or whatever. Growing up, there was this this person that gave a testimony every Sunday, and we could recite the testimony verbatim because it was always the same testimony every single Sunday. I'm like, God ain't did nothing different, like nothing different. You know, and those prayers that you can recite, the prayers it's like there's nothing else, you know. But okay, but you know, when we grow up in those kind of situations, especially as young people, it becomes ingrained in us to think that's normal and that's how it's supposed to be. You know how it's supposed to be. And then it's hard to break somebody after they've been doing the same thing for 45, 50 years. It's a lot of folks that grew up in church and have never gotten saved.
Right. Right.
You know, they've never accepted the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. They've never asked God to come into their heart because out of tradition, they've just been there every single Sunday. So I'm automatically saved, right? Have you professed it? You know, have you haven't done it. And you can get everybody else saved, but you yourself have never said it yourself. Right. You know, and I think it's important that we begin to chop at some of these traditions because this new generation that's coming up, they're challenging every single system that we think is normal, and they're getting to God their own way.
And it's funny you say that because a good friend of mine, Pastor Peter Watts, he had a conversation this weekend with some young folks around that same thing. Mm-hmm. I have an older daughter. My oldest daughter, she goes to church, but for a while she was finding church or gospel, Christ, whatever you want to call it, by hiking out in the valley, by going to a spin class with her girls and going out to brunch and having these deep, they didn't call it theological conversations, but they were having deep conversations about just purpose and power and all these things that we talk about, principles. And so we have to understand that traditions have a shelf life, and that what worked for my great grandparents can still work for me, but you got to allow for it to evolve. So Tide is still Tide that my great grandmother used, but now Tide has switched to Tide Pods that my wife uses. Still gets the clothes clean, but they've allowed for themselves to evolve. And it's still Tide. The church has got to evolve. It's still going to be the church, but some of those things we have to do differently. That's why we had a selfie Sunday. We use cell phones. People take selfies. Have a selfie Sunday. Dress however you want to dress. Take a selfie, post that with the hashtag Selfie Sundays. Why not?
Out the box and relatable and current and timely.
Right.
You know, that's what I'm talking about. Kwame, what's the next question? Before we're out of time. What's the next question? What advice would you give a Christian who wants to live honest? And by honest, I say you got Kirk Franklin wants to live honest. If we all knew that Kirk Franklin cussed like a sailor, would we still buy his music? Me, yes, because I know who I'm dealing with. You know, he keeping it real, keeping it 100. I have a problem with folks that put up the facade of holiness. And then I know behind the scenes, you know, they smoking weed, they drinking, they doing everything they need to be doing, you know, when they're out of sight from the Christians, but they're out of sight from who they think are Christians. Right. You know, so when it comes to living honest, like my brother, Joe McClain, that's my brother, that's my fam, 100%. If I sat down with Joe and me and Joe was eating a burrito and Joe being a Christian, I'm being a Christian, and the burrito is so good, Joe is cussing up a storm about how good this burrito is, you know, just and say, yo, Locke, let's wash this burrito down with an ice cold Corona and yada, 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 yada. Now, I'm not gonna look at Joe and say, "Well, Joe, you know God is watching." You know, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing that. You know, but I know Christians who they won't go to a concert, they won't do nothing, and it's like, well, what? But you want to go.
Right.
You want to go.
Right.
You know, so what advice would you give a Christian who wants to live honest, but they are so trapped by a tradition and like Chester said, the opinions of others?
Yeah, living honest. Once again, you got to be your true self. God knows who you are. He knows how He has you wired and designed. God, I don't believe God looks at me differently when I go to the gym and I put on my hardcore rap music. He doesn't look at me precariously because I'm listening to that kind of music, because that music is not causing me to sin. It's just what I use to get me pumped up to go to the gym. Right. You know, I got to go in here and get yelled at by my coach. So I need some adrenaline. But
you don't put on Martha Manuzzi when you go to the gym?
No, man.
You don't put on the best of Joel Osteen?
Afterwards, I do, because we done got through it. We got through the suffering, the storm, and the rain. No, but it's like I tell my kids: you can lie to me all day long, but be honest to yourself. Be honest with yourself. Say
that again. Say it again. Say it again.
I tell my children, you can lie to me all day long, but be honest with yourself. This walk is a walk between you and God. And yeah, I do take issue with those who try to be holier than thou, knowing that, once again, we've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. We're not perfect. We are saved by grace. And if you continue to try to live falsely, the only person that's going to be faked out is you. Because if you're trying to walk around with these masks in your bag, you don't know what type of day God is going to present to you, and you don't know what mask you're going to pull out. So at some point, people are going to see you for who you are anyway.
That right there, that right there. You wake up to cherubim and seraphim serenading you all throughout the room. You get in your car and you're just holy, 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 and then you get to work.
Come on now.
You get to work and you find out something done went awry or something didn't get done. And like you said, that switch come and they're like, oh, so is this who you really are? Is this you? And then how do you respond to folks that say, and I thought you were a Christian? How do you respond to that?
Well, I'm a Christian, but I'm a Christian that's following Christ, and Christ is the one who's perfect. I'm imperfect. That's why I'm connected to the perfect one. That's my response. I'm imperfect. So you will find me in spaces and places to wherein I'm still Christian, but I'm a Christian that is so in touch with myself and with God. I don't have to put on no airs for you because it's not about you.
Oh. Whew. When I say that, that was a mic drop. That was a mic drop. And when I say that was a mic drop, the way you so eloquently basically said, mind your own business, sweep around your own front door, focus on you and what you got going on. Some people will say that that's just you trying to make an excuse for doing wrong or whatever. But it all boils down to some folk and how their opinions should not matter to you.
Right. Because it's one of those things to wherein, okay, you want to talk about what I'm doing, but what are some of the things that you're allowing yourself to do? You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, don't do that. Don't talk about the pastor's kids when your kids out here running the streets and doing everything under the sun, but you want to hold my kids to a higher regard. They human. They didn't get the calling. They just got the message.
Right.
I got the call. They got the message. So don't do that. That's why I tell my kids, just be yourself. This is not about you. This is what dad does because this is what dad has been called into. But live your life true to yourself. honor God, and allow for him to set things in order in your life. If you put the kingdom first, everything else is going to be put in order for you. So don't worry about the people.
As long as your son don't cuss you out, y'all good.
Oh no, yeah. Now when we get there, then we gonna go back to my Ice Cube's level. Like we're gonna put the brownies on. Like what we doing? Come on, man. what we doing?
You don't want to see the default you. That's the default you.
And it's like I share with people. Stop it, because there's some folks that's gonna be in heaven that you had cast down to the pit of hell.
Come on.
And they're gonna be the ones that's gonna have to grant you access at the pearly gates. And there's some folks you thought were gonna be there that you're not gonna see. So be careful.
Wow. I love it. All right, let's close out with the question of the day. This is for everybody in the village. Our question of the day is for you to answer in the chat section. Pastor Cedric, you gonna answer it. I'm gonna answer it. Here is our question of the day. Drum roll, please. What is the first question you want to ask God when you meet him?
Man, why you let me hang out with them crazy folks at that church?
At church.
Why you let me hang with them crazy folks at the church? Why you do that?
And you probably gonna say it with laughter, like you did me dirty, dog.
You did me wrong.
You did me dirty.
Man. You should have told me about all that before I said yes to your will and yes to your way. Come on, you should have told me that.
Before I put my hands on the plow.
Hey, come on, man.
I should have got a little booklet or something.
Come on. Can you give me the cheat notes? Give me the cheat notes next time. Bro.
Right. Is there a faster way?
But,
all right, so let's see.
But seriously, I would ask him, why does he allow for the pain to reside when a loved one goes home to be with eternity? Why do you allow for that to happen? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I get that. Yeah. Let's look at some of these questions. So Chester, why'd you take my mama so early? Yes. Joe McClain, why you really give me a microphone knowing them folks wasn't going to like me? Facts. Joe, God gave you a gift. And people is hating, but you spitting that fire. Did I make it in, God? Listen, that's me. Lord, you sure? Don't let me cross the threshold and you say, I'm just kidding, Dante. Get on up out of here. Yeah, did I make it in? I make it in. Why was I so short?
Come on,
Rob.
Come on, Rob. Come on, baby. Come on, man.
Okay. Why'd you create roaches that fly? Because listen, down south, them things is like bats.
Man, they go ahead and knock you out.
Right. My question would basically, honestly, be God, 2020. And I'd wait to see what he had to say. I would just wait. 2020, really, God? 2020? That's you? That's what you're doing? So
when you wrote that out,
right?
When you laid out your plans and you got to 2020, what was really going on? What was happening?
Did you let somebody else take over? Did you say, I'm going to go eat something real quick? Y'all figure out 2020. I'll be back in 2022 because 21, it's still kind of shaky. And I'm looking at God like, for real? We still in 2020, God.
You just let one of the angels just take over. And what happened? What did you do?
Right.
Next time, let Gabriel write up what could happen.
You got some compassion because you let Michael do it. And Michael like war and all that kind of stuff. Michael like fighting. Right. Like Gabriel,
Some folks like to play. Don't give it
right.
to them. Don't let
like Joe said, he did a Morgan Freeman. He took a whole break. Right. Y'all run this. I'm good. Pastor Cedric, it's always a pleasure, man. Hey, let folks know again how they can reach you, contact you. I'm sure it might be folks on here that are unchurched, that are tired of church. They probably want to inbox you on Facebook to say, yo, can you just give me some guidance how to navigate this thing. So I'm going to give you the full screen and you just talk to the folks. Take about 30 good seconds. Talk to the people.
You can reach me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook at Cedric J. Nelms. Just look me up and friend request me. We do have our website, www.choseng129.org. You can email me at cgc129@gmail.com as well. And I'm on Twitter at SETI40. Instagram, I'm at SETI42 on Instagram. So just look me up. Plus, I'm friends with Donta. So just send me a friend request and we can talk.
Pastor Nelms, hey man, thank you so much for your willingness to come on and just talk about folks. And I did this because sometimes when we hear pastor, people get turned off. They shut out. I ain't trying to hear from no pastor, but I know you keep it real. You keep it 100. And I knew that you would help and inspire and encourage somebody on tonight, especially in this season with all that's going on. People like to say, I ain't about that Christian life. That's fine, but you still need some inspiration. So with that being said, sir, thank you so much. And I'm definitely going to get you back on a few more times this year, fam. Hey, so I love you, my brother.
Love you, brother.
Hey, y'all. So thank you for watching the Donta Show on tonight. Prayerfully, something was said that encouraged, inspired, and motivated you to be better, live your best life. I know that we all have our struggles and challenges with religion, spirituality, Christianity, whatever the case may be, but there is always some kind of higher power that we need to subscribe to get us through these hurdles that we are experiencing in life. Thank you for joining us. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram, Donta_Morrison. On Instagram, Donta_Morrison on Instagram. Make sure to follow the Donta Show on youtube.com/Donta Morrison, youtube.com/Donta Morrison. And as always, Village, know that I love, appreciate, and thank you for riding with me and Dana till the wheels fall off. Without you guys, we'd be two dudes just taking a walk. And we just thank you so much for just being the supportive squad that you are. Last but not least, today, your boy, I passed my preliminary oral defense for my PhD program. So, load off my shoulders. You all know I've been pursuing my PhD, and today I had to give my preliminary oral defense. I passed, and I'm just waiting now to get through the IRB process, which will allow me to start my research. I will start my research hopefully in a month, God willing, and then I'll be done with this whole school thing before the year is out. Thank y'all for rolling with me on this journey as I go. On tomorrow, my guest is Camila Akil, owner of Hey Batter Batter. So Hey Batter Batter is a corn dogs. It's a corn dog truck, and the corn dogs are amazing. They're corn dogs made with this waffle batter, and so I knew her when she was just starting locally, but now she has a whole truck, and I'm all about supporting Black businesses. So if you are a Black business owner, throw your comment, throw your website, all that in the chat, and let's make it happen. So I will see y'all tomorrow night right here, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for another round of the Donta Show with your boy, Donta Morrison. Love y'all, mean it, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.